Hello, everybody. My name is Rodman. I'm an artist. I'm a designer. I'm an illustrator. I've worked in pretty much every single industry in the art world. Production, animation, storyboarding, character design, kids book publishing. And today, I want to be your new teacher. How about you guys? Would you guys like to learn something new today? I'd love to share a little bit of my knowledge with you guys, if you don't mind. Pancakes! How you doing, Mr. or Mrs. Pancakes? If it's Mrs. Pancakes, that's pretty fucking cool. Well, Mr. Pancakes is kind of cool too. I'm stacked. I'm struggling with line art. Line art. So, what about line art are you struggling with? Isali, how's it going? I can help you if you tell me what you are struggling with. Line weights. Cool. Let's talk about line weight. So line weight is one of the most important parts of drawing. Believe it or not, it's one of the most consistent issues where people if they just fix that, they would fix most of their issues with their art. Line art, when you draw it all the same weight, can look really cool, right? There's no reason you can't make it look really pretty. But whenever you're drawing the same weight on everything, it ends up looking kind of flat. Even if you do add a lot of detail, you end up with a lot of flatness. Now, I'm going to show you the difference between adding that and just adding a little bit of line weight. If I just make the lines where they're supposed to be shadows a little bit thicker, let's say we have a light source over here. Just by making the lines where the shadows would hit a little deeper, no shadows, no nothing, just line weight. By adding a little extra thickness to it, you're representing that concept of a shadow. You can represent the concept of eyelashes by just making the top line of your eyelash darker than the bottom one. And that's going to give you the illusion of an eyelash. You can always add eyelashes, but you already have the illusion of it by just darkening the line. So you don't have to do much. With a nose, you can do a simple triangle and just darken the bottom part, and you get yourself a nice little pinup nose. Okay? You don't have to overthink it. Most of the time, we're just thinking that we want it to look exactly like other people's shit, so we stop thinking about it being easy. So line weight, in general, even when it's an entire character, the line weight aspect is going to play a huge role. Mostly because it's just a very easy way to give depth without having to do absolutely anything except just darkening your lines. So that is the one concept that normally people struggle with so much that it's incredibly easy. Before you start adding shadows, play with your line weight. Shadows will help you later on, but it's not necessary at first. Ooh, all right, we have about 120 people. Let's go like crazy. Let's see if we can get to at least 10,000 likes. And let's just keep going. Have you ever worked for Disney, Pixar? I have worked for a lot of big skateboarding companies. I have worked for a bunch of companies like Walmart, and I've done things for Target, and I've done things for a bunch of production places. I have sold millions of t-shirts online. I have sold, I've done designs that have been manufactured all around the world. I have had prize-winning skateboards. I have skateboards in the Skateboarding Hall of Fame. There is a bunch of things that I have done. And recently, I started doing work for Marvel Snap. And hopefully, if I am not lazy enough and I can remember to email the people, I'll work for Lorcana as well. So I'll be doing work for Disney, and I'll probably be doing work for other people like that as well in the same future. Can you do a girl hair tutorial with bangs? Okay, so if you want to draw a girl, normally I like to draw my eyes a little bit bigger. So my eye socket. If you don't know this technique, let me explain it to you. Big circle, little circle, connect it. Okay? If you connect that, it literally gives you access to drawing the upper part of your head. If you draw a teardrop coming from here, you have access to your chin and your nose. Okay? So heads, stupidly easy. 2 circles. Oh, you want 3/4? You draw an extra circle. Cool. Okay? You don't have to struggle with faces. Period. But hairs with bangs. Hair in general is going to be parallel perspective. So I like to do this. It's going to be like a little force field, and I just cut out the parts that I want. That's it. That's literally it. That's why I don't focus on hair so much, because it's literally just whatever force field you want. If it's long hair, it's just a force field that goes lower, like a little helmet, Mr. Freeze or whatever, and then you grow up and fall down. Grows up and falls down. If you have hair tied up, the hair goes to that area, all pointing like little arrows to that area, and then it bunches up. So it's not really all that difficult. When you want to draw bangs, draw your big circle, little circle, teardrop, draw your features, and then you're going to draw a little force field in the front. You're just going to go around your shape. And you have yourself bangs. Stop thinking about them like swirls and shit like that. It's just a volume that goes around your head. You can only copy what you see because you have never really experimented and allowed yourself to fail at doing things that are different. You're comfy doing the things that you know, and you feel probably like there's some sort of rejection or something like that in the way of doing something else, so you don't feel proud about it. If you don't feel proud about it, you're not going to feel like you accomplished anything. That is the problem with art. We need to be proud of it. If we're not proud of it, then we don't do it anymore. Expressions. Okay, so facial expressions, I'll get to facial expressions once we get to 10K though. How about that? And I'll show you guys the best, easiest trick to draw every facial expression ever, including your nose. Like, you won't struggle with facial expressions ever again. Or noses. There's a very simple techniques to those stuff. I have discovered the connected dots approach to everything. So I don't really have any concerns of where to draw something. So I have the ability to make it creative any way I want. And if you guys did not know, I have a character design course launching on the 26th. So make sure that you guys sign up for the waiting list because it's going to be mega discounted then. I think After the discounts, it ends up being just shy of 200, but you can pay it in installments too if you wanted to. So I highly recommend it. If you took the fundamentals class, this is the next step up. So the fundamentals, we taught you guys volume, perspective, flow. We taught you guys posing. We taught you guys how to make the rule of three. We taught a bunch of lessons that help you understand how to draw the basic figure. In this one, I'm going to teach you guys how to use those things to draw things like animals and anatomy better and be able to do all sorts of really cool things with what you have learned. Okay? Because learning and applying are two different things. Learning how to apply something doesn't mean, like, learning the fundamentals can help you if you have creative flow, right? If you're self-instructed, all you need is somebody to tell you the guide, and then you're gonna break through and you're gonna do whatever you want with it. If you are a person that needs guidance, though, that's why I'm there for. Oh, the price is gonna be shy of 200 with the discounts and stuff. If you sign up for the waiting list. If you don't, it's like 59 classes so far. It's a ton of classes. Like, I went overboard. I went fucking crazy. And I still have some that I want to do. So I'm going to release a release schedule after the course for the weeks ahead, so you guys know what classes are still coming. So even though it is a complete course already, I just want to add more, because character design is very, very thorough, and people just don't understand how thorough it needs to be. And it's just going to keep on adding. Every time that I learn something new, let's say that I find a way to draw, I don't know, faces from W's. And I'm like, oh, look at that. This is a really cool technique. Oh my God. I need to add it. And then I will add it if I feel like it's a very important lesson to learn. It's my school. I don't have to abide by anyone's fucking rules. So if I want to add a class just because I feel it, you're going to get a new class in like a month, 6 months. An extra class just added whenever I learn something new. That's the value. Oh, and plus, you get to ask me anything you want. You can reach at me, email. You can just essentially send me your portfolio to review. As long as you're not annoying. You know what I mean? Like, as long as it's within reason, I am more than happy to help anybody. But a lot of the times, people take that overboard. But I love helping, and it's very rare that somebody goes like all like stalkery on me. Not that it hasn't happened, but it has. What's your brand of pen? Bic. Super cheap, like 1,000 or like 500 or like 100 for like $1 or something like that. Or you can just like take them from the banks. Or whenever you go to a restaurant. You pay for the bill and you, oops, I forgot to give you my pen back. Oh no. So, character design in general is about variation, right? So if you know a rule that gives you a very standard look, a very simple rule that can help you understand the standard, then you can make variations by changing those shapes out, right? Just change the shapes that consisted of that initial shape, and you have yourself variations. You can do that to extremes, right? You don't have to ever stay within the realms of the same shapes. Once you understand the concept of the teardrop and the two circles, those circles can be anything you want. They don't have to even be circles anymore. Okay? So whenever you are learning, understand that you're learning a base so that you can modify from there. You're not learning step 0 to 1,000. You're learning step 1 to 10. And you have to add a ton of them because it's experimentation. You have to experiment. I can't give you every lesson because you need to try to do things and experiment. Otherwise, you'll only be able to do what I tell you. A good teacher tells you how to improve outside of his realm of reach. Okay? I don't have to be there holding your hand if I can teach you properly to hold your own. I'm going to teach you to fish, my friends. I'll teach you to fish. And I'll give you all the lures. Bro, the wisdom this tech gives. Can I draw realistic? Yeah, realistic is essentially just the lack of lines. So whenever you're drawing things and you want to make them look a little more realistic, start eliminating lines. There's going to be placements that you need to do so that you know where things go, but you're not going to draw heavy lines. You're going to draw shadows, and you're going to draw tones. You're going to draw contrast. You're not going to draw lines. So whenever there's an issue with a white, you need to have something darker next to it. If you have an issue with something round, you need to give the shadows of a round thing. Okay, so when things are round, you have to account for that. When there's overlapping shapes and folds, you need to account for that. The reason that realism normally takes forever is because you have to be very observant and every single line plays a role. So being able to draw more realistic, it's just about understanding that there's less lines, more tones. And that's not always the easiest thing to do. And it's a little harder with pen, just off the bat. But a lot of the time when you're doing it with pen, it's about cross-hatching and creating contrast on the outside, right? I can eliminate a line by adding a background. I can eliminate a line by adding a shadow. I can eliminate or create contrast here by adding a little contrast. So being able to draw with tones, the lines come from the contrast of the two colors, not from you drawing a line. And that is essentially how you get realistic looks. Use charcoal. It's going to be so much easier. Charcoal, pencil, just something that you can smudge and erase. You're going to have a much harder time doing it with a ballpoint pen. Color theory. You know, I have a digital coloring class. I don't think I have a color theory class in there. That's actually probably a good one. I'm going to add that to the schedule because I think that would be really useful. Thank you. I think that would be a very useful thing. Complementary colors and stuff like that. Tertiary colors and all that stuff. Do you have, when the face is in front, are the corners of the jaw in line with the chin? Ooh, so let's talk about it. So when we're looking at the front view and we divide a face directly into 3 parts, let's just divide it equally into 3. We're going to draw 2 circles here for your eyebrows, your eye, and your cheekbone, and your ear. Okay, so eyebrows, eyes, and cheekbones, and ear. Then you have the nose that's going to be right in the middle, and that nose is going to give you access to your cheekbones on this side, or the cheeks, the cheek muscle. You have your nose, your mouth, your chin. Now, this line is your neck. That's not your jaw. That's your neck. Your neck is, from the front view, it's very much the same width as your head. And then your jaw connects from the ear to the chin. No L. There's no little indication like that. There's no fucking thing like that. Just touch it. Now, you get a little bit of a shadow underneath because the jaw is going to be separated from the neck. Okay? This is what happens. You create a little surface, and there's sun. Boo, boo, boo. The sun hits that surface, and it creates a shadow, my friends. That's the only reason that we do that. Okay? That's the only reason we do that. In this case, if a shadow is being cast right there, what happens with the nose? The nose is going to have a shadow that's casted on top of that as well. What happens with the eye socket? The eye socket, well, the eye's inside the eye socket, so you're going to cast a little shadow right here. the eye, wherever the eyebrow hits, it's going to indicate the side of the head. The eyebrow is a huge indicator of the side of the head. So if you just do that, you find your eyebrow, go around it, find yourself a circle, and then you have yourself the structure of a head. It's actually really easy. Wherever you draw an eyebrow, right, this is going to be the roundness for your eye socket. The bottom of whatever circle you draw there to the edge of your shape is going to be the rest of your head. Different sizes will give you different results. Okay, so in this case, the light's from here, so all this area in the circle would be shaded, as well as probably the side of the neck, just because of the way the shadows hit. Bro, you make me learn more intently than in my own school. You know, that's probably more because you respect me more than your teachers. Odds are you probably see me as a person that actually knows what they're doing as opposed to your teachers. Because I know how to talk to you. Regardless of me not talking directly to you, in this case I am, but I know and I have trained my communication skills to be able to talk to a wide range of audiences, not just to people and make them think like they're dumb if they don't know what they do. You know, if somebody thinks they're silly and they don't understand something, if they're afraid to ask you a question about how to improve, then you're not a good teacher. Could you do a little explanation about legs? Legs are my specialty, my friend. Let's talk about legs, but there's 200 people here, and I still only have 17,000 likes. I need to feel some love. All right, let's get that number high. You guys dictate the number. I don't care. Let's just make that little button bleed. Rodgon, you're a lifesaver. I got so much better at anatomy because of you. Yeah! Do you do toots on practicing coloring? I do. If you go back into my YouTube channel, there's a big gallery. Gigantic gallery of back-end videos that will teach you absolutely everything from inking and Illustrator to Photoshop to coloring to living as an artist to being able to survive to knowing how to talk to clients, to doing like how to set up for conventions. I used to do a lot more higher end production skill things rather than the streams. But then I got really sad. And I had very, very little support from my partner. So I almost gave up on YouTube because of that. And I'm glad I didn't. But like the motivation for making the videos that high end like was killed by the person, you know, that I was with. Kept on telling me it was a joke, it was like wasted time, and I loved her, so I believed her. Right? Thinking, hey, she knows more than me, I'm probably dumbass. But nope, absolutely not. And learning to give yourself the ability to understand that you probably know better than other people about what you want to create, want to do, well, that comes with time. It only comes with experience. You can't force yourself to think that you're amazing and that you are great and you're valuable if everybody around you keeps telling you that you're not. It's a very difficult climb out of that fucking hole, you know? And I'm lucky I don't have that weight anymore. And I say that in the most sincere, kindest way possible. But it was, my career just flourished after her. It was like a long time of just being fucking miserable trying to people please someone that did not like me. Felt like they were settling for me. But after that, I was broken for a while. I was very broken. And still am a little bit, to be honest. But that's what you get for bringing people like that in. And I wish her the best. She just doesn't understand that the way of loving is hurtful. She thinks she's doing great. I feel so sorry for whoever dates her and gives her what she wants, because what she wants is for you to be miserable. I'm getting much better because of you. Thank you. Yay! All right, so let's go on to the next lesson. Legs. You guys had legs. So legs are really easy. Legs are really easy. Let's start with a simple shape. Let's start with a box. Okay? You're not going to draw legs from a box. We're going to draw two little shapes that are going to become legs from a box. The first thing we need to realize is that our bodies have edges. Right? They have contours. So there are always going to be two sides to an object. There's going to be a left and a right. Every time. No matter what. And if we learn to find the edge, we can find the outside part of our leg, right? Easy. Then we get to bring it back in and dictate how wide our leg is going to go. So, boop. So I call this the swooshy, because you go swoosh, swoosh. Swoosh, swoosh. And the beauty of these is that you can't get them wrong. You can't fuck them up. You can't. If you make one smaller, you're just drawing in 3/4. If you make one fatter, you're drawing in profile. As obviously, if you're trying to break it, you're going to get really, really weird positions, but you're still going to have really cool, like, dynamic poses if you do that. So let's not draw them from a box, because this gives us a really flat shape right here, right? If we were trying to move it from our original point, we can probably get to here and make it look without it looking weird. But if we draw it from a circle, it gives us a little angle like this. The little angle is perfect for moving the leg around. This little angle, wherever you touch with the leg, is now your leg hole. And that leg hole allows you to move your leg in any direction you want. You want the character sitting, draw them forward. You want them walking, move one back, one forward. Kind of simple, right? So now let's try it and actually use that. So if we draw a little circle, I'm going to draw an edge, bring it back in, I have my leg. Edge, bring it back in, I have my leg. The connecting points become my hip bones. And I leave a little space in the middle so that I can have a crotch. Cool. I'm going to take that crotch and I'm going to draw that same circle up here. I'm going to draw a little cylinder that's exactly the same size. This is going to be my head. My collarbone is going to be a very similar shape to this, but you need to have distance from your rib cage. So we draw a little line from the front of that circle to give ourselves a collarbone. The collarbone and the rib cage give us access to learning where our upper body goes. This little line that you draw is part of the arm. So this will always point to the outside of the arm. Always. Like almost every single instance that you will ever draw arms, that's going to be the case. Okay? Whenever you're drawing that circle, that goes to the outside of your arm. It's a very, very useful tool to know, because you're going to want to move your body parts around a lot. If this always goes to the outside, that's a really bad arm. But that's always going to go to where you need it. Every single time. Okay? Every time. The top of the compass becomes your back muscles. The muscles next to your neck. And the end of the compass is going to give you access to your pectoral muscles. shoulder, arm. No ball. There's no like fucking ball. There's no ball. No ball. There's no big fucking ball as a shoulder. Stop doing that. Okay? It doesn't work like that. And girls, just draw a little heart from this. And you have yourself more girlies. So being able to draw really cool characters, all you got to do is find that collarbone so you can find the outside of your arm. You have your head and you have your collarbone now. Well, remember we drew a little circle and we drew 2 widths of the leg. So outside edge, inside for volume. Outside edge, inside for volume, and I can overlap shapes if I want. Boo-boo-doo-doo-doo. Move my arm around all over the place if I want to. Let's give him a sword. So it's a very, very simple way of doing that. How do you get better at coloring? You have to look at contrast. You have to think about contrast. When it comes down to painting and coloring, you have to think about contrast. For example, I'm going to give you a quick example right here, right? Before we colored that in, this sketch doesn't really stand out. The moment that I add a color around it, I create contrast. That contrast is making that white stand out, but it's also making the pink stand out, right? So understanding coloring is about understanding how to make things pop out. It's not necessarily about understanding how colors in themselves interact with each other. That is one big fucking lie. It's about understanding contrasting tones. And then the creativity with color comes with understanding that and breaking the rules, just like you do with shapes and like you do with anatomy and like you do with everything else. You understand something and then you break it in a way that's stylized more towards what you want. But you learn the basic principles of it and then you break them. You don't try to just come up with something without knowing anything. That's what leads to broken systems of coloring or not being able to understand what you're doing, which just leads to mindless repetition, and that leads to like a lot of wasted time. Because you're not getting better by just mindlessly repeating a process, especially if you don't understand it. You're just doing it over and over, hoping that you get the same result without understanding what you're doing. Jajoni, or Jajonai. Babra's light against dark, dark against light. Yeah, I mean, was he a Sith? Was he a Jedi or a Sith? I think he was a Sith. His hair, it's just the hair. I can totally see like a young Palpatine with that hair. Trying to like pass off, like trying to be like the nicest person in the world. And like, no, look at me, happy trees. Hey, I will control the world. How to get better at perspective apart from the vanishing. Oh, dude. You've never heard of bubble perspective? Have you never heard of bubble perspective? Oh my God. Oh my God. I get to teach bubble perspective. Hold on, let me find an example of it so I can just explain it stupidly quick. I'm going to teach you the best perspective you've ever learned without vanishing points in like 5 minutes. You're going to be able to do things like this. Right? You're going to be able to move things around in space a little easier because the secret society of the Daigon takes care of its people. Like that. Stuff like that. Like super extreme poses. Like you don't have to ever use a vanishing point. I'm trying to find other examples. I think there's a bunch of other examples. Oh, there you go. There's one. Yeah, just simple things like that. Like you don't need a vanishing point at all for this. Absolutely. Like at all. Like you don't need vanishing points for perspective at all. But let me explain to you how that works, because a lot of people are going to be like, bullshit, bullshit. No, it's not bullshit. It's literally like the easiest thing in the world. So what happens, my friends, let me ask you something. What happens when you split a circle in half like this with another circle? Well, in my opinion, there's a couple things that happen, right? This is a beautiful thing. This is like what I call a diagon. This is the basis of our secret society. Right? Digons are really, really useful because a circle inside gives us access to the circumference of our shape, right? So we know that there's a surface. So we could put things on it if you wanted to, like a little spike or bracelet, things standing up, whatever. So if we know that that's the case, I can do a simple guideline and I can draw a character on top of it. Huh. Okay, so now it's a little planet. Cool. So that's the power of one diagon. So what else does the diagon tell us? Well, it's a very easy way to tell from one side to the other. So if I draw two dots and I connect them, I know exactly where something is going to be over here and where it's going to be on the other side of my object, because this gives me the front, the back, the left, and the right. Right? It also slices the object in half. But what happens when you slice an object in half? You get a surface. So if you split something in half with a circle and you get a surface, what happens if you just use different circle widths? So if I choose a flat circle, I get more horizon perspective, sky, ground. If I go a little bit bigger, a little bit thicker, I get more overhead perspective. Huh, interesting. If I draw that same circle, because it's ambiguous, right? That same circle, but I choose this side instead, I get an over the cliff type of situation. So I can draw all my fighting scenes and shit like that for anime intros. So that's really interesting, right? It's just, and it's also something that happens within the structures of your body. If you draw a circle that touches both edges, you get yourself clothing and perspective. It's not something that is just relinquished to backgrounds. So that's just something that happens, right? So now how do we use that for environments? So we're going to use, let's say Mr. Stan is going to be right here. Hello, Stan. Say hi to Stan, everybody. Be nice. Hello, Stan. All right, we're going to draw a little circle around Stan, and we're going to give him a little perspective bubble. Boom, 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 boom. So now he's standing on something, okay? But now I want him in an environment. I don't want him in a bubble. Well, if I choose to this be the only sort of a perspective, center of perspective, I'm going to use this edge as my horizon line. This is separating the sky and the ground. Okay? This gives me a separation of the sky and the ground. Now, the circle, if you just radiate the circle out, I give myself a globe. I'm doing this at a bigger scale because I'm just choosing that circle, but now I'm choosing to expand it. So that horizon line gives me access to more perspective, and I can expand that infinitely. If I want something above him, I can just draw a circle that's above him by drawing in the right perspective, and I choose that. I can do that in every part of the drawing and give extra elements of perspective without ever adding a horizon line. Oh, a perspective point, sorry. We are using a horizon line. If you change the width of the circle, that horizon line changes. So if you make it wider, you get more of a round perspective, right? Being able to do every single variation of shapes. Let's say you want a character looking into the cliffs, and they're looking into the valley, and you're like, oh, they're about to go on an adventure. Just crop it wherever you feel you're good, and then you're done. Absolutely no need for perspective points and shit like that if you don't want to use them. You can always add them to this and then have things going into the horizon. You can add them to that line. Why is chicken scratching bad? It's not. A lot of people would consider what I do chicken scratch. And I don't consider myself doing something bad. I'm studying, dude. I could give a shit what you think or what anybody thinks. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm studying in my sketchbook and you have an opinion, a negative opinion about my work, who the fuck do you think you are? Like, how dare you come here and comment any negativity on what I'm showing you, allowing you to see? If I'm sharing with you and you're sharing negativity with me, you can go fuck off. I'll never share anything again with you. Why would I ever want someone that's going to tell me negative crap about my work to even talk to me, to even be in my social group, to even be around me? So, in a way, you feeling like you have to like comply with what other people do and what other people like, because maybe you like chicken scratch stuff. Maybe you like doing just random shit and then figuring something out from there, you know? People do that all the time. There's no wrong in art. It's just your subjective ideas, and then you're telling yourself, oh, well, nobody else has done this, so maybe it's bad. No, that's probably the best thing you could ever have done. Not following the path that anybody else has set, following your own unpaved road is going to lead you down the roads that nobody else has done. And that's the goal, right? It's not just to replicate somebody else's career. Fuck that. Like, that's boring. Why would I want to just be a copy of someone? I want to make it so other people want to be a copy of me. Yeah. I get really pissed when people put down my work. That's part of your fault. You're letting yourself get mad over stupid opinions that don't matter. You have control over that. You don't have control over somebody talking shit, but you have massive control over what the fuck you feel. And if you allow yourself to be emotionally immature, that point that you feel, I don't like people talking bad about, who cares? Who gives a flying shit? Who cares? Your mom doesn't like your work? Who cares? Your dad, your girlfriend doesn't like your work? Who gives a fuck? They're not you. They will never understand how important it is for you to complete what you're doing. They'll never know. They'll never know. And get used to that. No one in your life will ever know how important it is to complete what you're trying to complete. No one. Absolutely no one. Not your wife, not your kids, not your mom, not your grandma. They will support you. They will tell you, oh, it's okay, honey. They'll never know. Oh, I swear all the time, dude. I swear all the time. It slips. Normally when I'm talking about something serious or something that's actually important, like, it just slips. I can't do anything. It's just part of my mannerisms. And I do apologize because I know that there's sometimes kids here and stuff like that. What's a chicken scratch? Whenever it's not super clean lines. A lot of people think that just sketching, like what I'm doing right now, just drawing lines and just trying to make something out of them, is chicken scratch. They think that this is not exploration unless it's like going to look more realistic or has final lines right away. Like, oh, why are you just chicken scratching in your sketch bag? Like, I don't do that. I just draw clean lines. And I'm like, ugh. You know, some people focus on just making their sketchbooks pretty. I focus on making my sketchbook a learning tool. I'd rather learn how to do something so that whenever I have a project, I can do it really, really quickly, than sit here and fill up a whole sketchbook that will probably never be seen by anybody, full of really cool sketches that mean absolutely nothing because they're just repetitions of the same shit I already know how to draw. That's my point of view. Do you have a class on inspiration speaking? Nah. A lot of the times, I don't think I know that my communication skills are good, but I don't think that I am a person to talk about how to talk to other people unless it's like in a teaching way. Like, I don't like there's a part of me that's really good at communicating things and selling. And that same part of me is a very, very negative part of me that I don't like, because it falls under manipulation of making people buy things they don't need, right? Like I'm very good at that because I have worked in sales most of my life. So I have learned to not want to use those techniques because I feel dirty. Dude, I feel dirty every fucking time that I'm like, oh, you need this, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, no, you don't. You don't fucking need it. I wouldn't buy it. Why the fuck would you buy it? Like, And then just trying to convince someone to fucking buy something that they don't need, it's something that it just makes me sick. Like, I've done it for so long in my life. Like, I did it for a very long time, like 10 years. It was just a salesman, right? So it's just, ugh. Like, honestly, I just need a fucking boss-ass babe, like a business girl, like a girl that's into business, like just wants to make a shit ton of money, right? You can take over the business side, baby girl. Just let me fucking draw. Just let me teach. Yo, I got a #1 badge. I don't know. I have no idea what that means, but thank you. I don't really follow the things with the gifts and stuff like that. I do apologize for anybody that sent gifts and I didn't say thank you. You guys are amazing. And I just don't really have time to look at the chat sometimes whenever I'm drawing, because it's something that takes most of your attention. Some people really, I like sales though, but I don't like the concept of having to sell something that doesn't really make any points. Like, I would never be a car salesman because I would never buy a car, like an expensive car myself. I would never be a clothes salesman because I'd never buy that shit. I would feel bad by selling somebody a $5,000 bag. I'd be like, why the fuck are you buying this shit? Like, go buy yourself a PlayStation 2, a Wii 2, and all the games, and lock yourself in and be amazing. But no, you want a fucking Prada bag. Like, what? Like, I would be that person that just tells them, like, you're being financially irresponsible, you stupid child. And go save this up, put it in a goddamn, like, insurance account or something. Just don't waste it on a bag. I don't care about, no, I think you're, like, misunderstanding. I'm not thinking about, like, their sexual appeal. I just want someone that's nice to me that actually wants to fucking grow. That's it. And since I lack the motivation financially, I don't really do things financially motivated. I don't. Like, if you tell me, oh, there's this money involved, I could give a fuck. I don't care. But if you tell me, we can make a fucking change, we can help people, we can do this, I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, let's go. Let's do this. You know, like, that's my way of exciting. Like, to me, tell me, oh, you're going to make $100,000. I don't care. I make enough money to live. Any extra money is just, like, I don't need it. And I know how to make money. Like, I don't need money. What I need is companionship, friendship, and support. That's it. I don't need anything else. And if someone wants to take over the business side, fucking perfect. If you just want to draw with me, amazing, even better. We'll have a co-host to these streams. That'd be amazing. Are you a Taurus? No, I'll let you guess what I am, though. So apparently, according to the new Zodiac sign, because there's a new Zodiac sign with a new symbol, apparently, I'm the snake lady. But before that, I was a horse dude. So now I'm a snake lady, apparently. So I'm going to draw a snake, and then I'm going to give her, like, old lady clothes, like a hoodie or something. So now I'm an old snake lady. And I don't know what that means. I thought I knew what a Sagittarius was. Apparently, no, I dated, like, a really cute hippie girl at one point. and she was like super into spiritual shit, right? Like, and she taught me so much stuff about like spiritual, like, oh, the chakras and and I was like, I didn't understand any of it most of the time, but she was just like fascinated by, she kept on saying that I had like, oh, you have so much spiritual potential. And I'm like, okay, how do we learn this stuff? So she taught me like how to meditate and all that stuff. So I was like, oh, okay. And she told me that being a Sagittarius was too much for her. And I would eventually stray off the path and not be loyal because my zodiac sign is, oh my, I was like, huh? What? I'm not telling you my birthday. That's weird. Come on now. Why would I dox my birthday here? Come on now. That's kind of weird. The officious. The new one doesn't count. What? I thought it was cool. I thought I was finally going to have like a cool thing. I was going to be the snake lady. And then whenever anybody asks me my zodiac sign, I'm like, oh, psst. Just make that sound. How would there suddenly be a new? I don't know. I have no idea. But yeah, look it up. It's officious or something like that. But I used to think that I was a cool Sagittarius. They're like, oh, supposedly, right? You're supposed to be flirty and you're supposed to be like a very outgoing human being. And here I am like staying at home doing absolutely nothing. Okay, so horses like that have double rib cages. So I guess a centurion or somebody like that would technically have their human rib cage or their human collarbone, and then they would have a larger rib cage because they have access to an animal body. So in order to connect both parts together, you can't have a normal human rib cage. You have to have another rib cage to contain another set of hip bones so that you can draw yourself your legs. Okay? So you have your collarbone with your normal arms. And then you have another set of collarbone with another set of legs. And then you have your hip bones in the back. So understanding that is very important whenever you're trying to draw cross-species things like, I don't know, Sagittarius artists. Can you do Ramona Flowers? What does Ramona Flowers? I know I used to have a crush on Ramona Flowers. She seemed like such an unavailable, cute girl. And apparently that's what I'm attracted to. Women that don't like me, but they look amazing. Plus, I like the whole alternative look. How's Moosey doing? Moosey's right here, just chilling. He's just sleeping. He's doing great. He got a little ear infection, and I had to like go to the vet, and like, you know, like he was just like scratching a lot, right? And I was like, "What is wrong with you, Moosey?" And I look, he had like a little build of yeast in his little ear, and I couldn't see it because of like all his poofiness. So I went and got that like fixed for him, and they told me to put like watered down white vinegar and just solutions, and that'll break down the yeast, and then so he's really happy. He stopped itching. Is it okay to ask how to draw two people kissing? Let's draw Ramona Flowers first. I don't know what Ramona Flowers looks like off the top of my head, so I'm just gonna draw a really emo alternative girl. Like a little goth goddess. Oh, goth girls, you guys will. Yeah. Like, no joke. It's just like, goddamn. Black makeup, like the eyeliner. Ah, Jesus Christ. I have a type, and the type is exactly opposite as to what I am. There's no reason any emo girl or any like goth girl would ever want to date me because I am not part of a scene and I'm by no means any of that. But oh my god, do I like them. Sketch it. Opposites? No, 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 no. Okay, if you want to never have anything in common with the person you date, yeah, date the opposite. If you want to always have arguments about easy, fucking relatable, no non-issues with other people, absolutely date the opposite. There's no fucking reason why you would ever do that on purpose. You just don't. You would never date the opposite person on purpose. It's like, oh, I'm going to take the worst job I can possibly want. Oh, and then I'm going to try to make it work. Why would you ever do that? Like, it seems so counterproductive. Like, I'm going to be the most inefficient at my relationship I can by being incompatible and then hope that things work out when most relationships don't work out anyways. Yeah, that sounds great. Just wondering how you can draw bodies. I'm having trouble with that. So bodies can be as simple or as complicated as you want. Okay, you can have a body that's just literally a circle and then just little figure nines for limbs. I'll show you in a second. Like I said, I know she has purple hair. So and she's into like punk stuff. So I just draw a little skull or something. Yeah, bodies can be as easy or as complicated as you want them to be. You don't have to complicate them much. You just need to know where the limbs go. So if you're going to be drawing bodies, you can start with a circle and draw figure nines. For figure nine, bring it back in, you have a limb. Do it 4 times, you have 4 limbs. Point them in different directions, you have an arm pointing in different directions. Learn to overlap your lines inside and you have depth. Now you can draw 3/4, you can move things in space, right? So now, let's say you want a more complicated body part. Well, you need to separate it into 2. Now you give your legs 1 and your arms 1. And you do that so that you can move them around, overlapping each other, and do that in every direction you can possibly want. That's cool, right? Simple. And then from there, you need to learn to connect those 2 circles and then create overlapping shapes with the 2 shapes. When you learn the concept of muscles, it's going to not necessarily be building on top of it, it's going to be cutting into your shapes. When you cut into your shapes, you have access to learning how to draw muscles from the guideline you drew. You don't have to draw outside of it. You cut into your guideline to generate your muscles. Okay? You don't go outside of your guideline because you haven't drawn anything outside your guideline. Why would you want to draw anything outside of what you already drew? Why would you want to imagine things? Extreme frog perspective. What is a frog perspective? Like, is it like the perspective from a frog? Like, let's say that you're a little frog and you're looking at somebody. Is that the perspective that we're talking about? Right? Ribbit. So being able to draw something from frog perspective, I've never heard it explained like that, but hey. It's about learning these 2 circles. This one leads to your collarbone, that gives you the outside of your arms. and this one gives you the crutch. If you consider them the same size, right? If you draw them the same size, you get a standing up person. If you make one bigger and the other one smaller, it gives you perspective. Oh my god. Oh my god, Ron. What the fuck you teaching? Oh my god. Whee. Okay, so two people kissing. It's just two faces. One face, and then you overlap body parts. Like, depends on where you want to kiss. Let's see if we're kissing in the mouth, right? So we're gonna kiss right here. This is the connecting point of both. So I'm gonna draw my lip, and then build up from there. No, Mr. Galum Hali Kalan, I don't want to be on your live stream. Let's see, if we draw one and then we draw the other, looking at them passionately. This is the point of contact, so that's where one nose is going to be behind the other, right? Angry kissing. Hello, hey Sarah, my favorite person. How you doing? Care Bear gets a Care Bear. All right, hold on. Everybody, everything pauses. Care Bear came into the town. All right, Sarah. Do you date your sketchbooks? No. That's a weird question. Do you date your sketchbooks? Do I need to call, like, someone? Sketchbook protection program. I'll call Sketchbook Protective Services, man. Don't make me call. SPS. Do you have a fandom you draw the most? I don't draw fandoms. I don't believe in using my skills to further somebody else's legacy. I'd rather just be me. And if I can make something happen on my own with my own skills, great. If I can't, a lot of times it's just going to be like, I'd rather be less by myself than be more with someone else's idea. And that's just literally my way of thinking. Like, that's just the way that I perceive things and the way that I am. My ego is way too big to be feeding into anybody else's shit. Hey, Sarah's Care Bear. Sarah is the person that over the last couple, month or so, or months, has been one of the few people that ever checks in on me. And she is so nice and kind, and she's genuinely, like, super, super nice to me. And she shares, like, what she does, her artwork and her days and stuff like that. And it's just like, you have no idea. You have no idea. Like, I haven't had friendship or communication like that with anyone in a very long time. Believe it or not, it's just something that I just don't do because I just don't get along with most people. But she's lovely. And I like talking to her. She's a very nice person. I recently discovered some impressive work on your channel. Do you calendar date? What? What is up with you and these dating questions? Do you date your sketchbook? Do you date? You are very concerned with what I date, my friend, and I don't date inanimate objects. If you're known by the teacher, oh, the teacher. Can I be the teacher? Can I? You know how they have like Doctor Who and they call him the doctor? Could I be the teacher? Would that be like super like weird? If that's not weird, I want to be called the teacher. Rajgan the teacher. That has a nice ring to it. Do you have an OC that I draw the most? I sure do. Yeah, hold on. Where is he? Where's my book of Bernie? I'll show you real fast. Yeah. So, besides from drawing pinups all the time, I do have a little bunny that I draw all the time. And his bunny is a sword-wielding maniac that's also a magician, a magical creature. And his name is Bernie. Bernie because he's half burnt. And he goes around killing dragons. He goes slaying them with his help of his little companion Munchies. And Munchies is a little bleeding heart demon, aka if he gets really, really hungry, he gets really, really scary. But if you feed him, he's almost like a non-threat. Right? So then we have the Panda Scouts, which is my reason to draw pinups, my ever-eternal love of pinups. And yeah, just coming up with a whole story and a whole sketchbook full of that story. And here's Sarah. Sarah made it. Sarah made it into the comic. She is one of the lead Panda Scouts. But yeah, it's just about a story about a little bunny. A little bunny that just happens to lose his family because of some random issue when he gets hurt. And now the pettiness inside of him doesn't allow him to stop killing the thing that hurt him. And it's a story about emotions. Anger, manipulation, sadness, grief, right? Resolution, love, peace, calm. It's just about emotions because I don't really know how to deal with emotions myself. I don't. I'm a very, very logical person and I just recede back to logic whenever I'm emotional. I'm like, I don't allow myself because emotional outs have caused me a lot of issues in the past. Like when I was young, I was a very angry kid and I did not know how to control that. And that lashed out on a lot of people getting hurt because of that. So I don't let anything ever get to me anymore and I seclude myself from society a lot because I don't want to accidentally be an angry person again. And I'd rather just be alone than be angry. And people upset me. I'm not a very good people person. I'm not. Like, people are dumb and people are mean and people have never been really kind to me. Like, so I just don't really like humans. There's some people I really like, but in general, like group of people, I just don't like them. I think that person thought was you. Do you put? No, yeah, I put dates and stuff on my sketchbooks all the time. This one started in May. And when it's done, I'll have the end date right there. I also have them in the front, though. I always put them in there. But yeah. Anyways, my friends, I think that is it for our stream today. We have been on for about an hour and 14 minutes. You all may hopefully have you learned something new. Maybe if it was just how animal anatomy works, or how to draw a little pinup, or just literally drawing a little Care Bear with me. Okay? You guys have a lovely day. I might not be on later today to do karaoke just because I'm slammed with work today. I have a lot of work to do and I have to actually do it. So I'm a very bad procrastinator because I'm, again, my own boss and I am a very lenient boss. We can do that tomorrow. We can do that next week, Rod. Take the day off. We want to play Marvel Snap. I'm a horrible boss for myself. I am not strict enough, and that's why I need someone to be there and be like, Do your fucking work. Here's a coffee. There's a kiss. Shut the fuck up and draw. So all hail the Order of the Digon. All hail the Digon, the secret society. If you've never joined us in our secret society, we have a secret society called the Order of the Digon, and we follow the teachings of the almighty platypus. And we call it the Disciples of Imagination, giving others knowledge. And the trick is, the knowledge, the K is silent. That's how we know if someone's part of the group or not. If someone's like, but that's not how you spell Digon, you're out. We know you're not. Oh, Lou, you're already part of it. You're my apprentice, bro. You're one of the lead generals of the Digon army. So all praise the almighty Lilu. Oh, Lilu, enlighten us with click moments. Ah. And I'll see you guys next time, all right? Take care.